Welcome everybody to the Joomla 3 day. I'm Kristijan Zivcec and I will talk today about redCORE. First, let me introduce myself a bit. So, my name is Kristijan Zivcec and I'm from Croatia. I have about 10 years of programming experience, about 6 years in C# and 4 years in PHP, so that makes me more experienced in C# than in PHP, but I'm keep going in PHP direction, so I think I will be better and better. Before I was working in Siemens DD, but now I'm working in RAD Component, and it's really great working there. There are lots of smart and brilliant people there, and it's really easy to work with them there. And I think it's really important to have a good team to work on some of the projects, especially as complex as we have in RAD Component. So let me start by telling more about redCORE. It's great working there. We have very smart and very brilliant people there, and we are adding to redCORE almost daily, so it's really developing fast, and you will see why you actually need it if you are developing Joomla applications. I will talk briefly about what is redCORE and say about our vision, what does it do, and present you a demo of redCORE usage. Okay, what is redCORE? redCORE and how we get to the point of developing redCORE. Well, as you all know, the Joomla, when switched from 1.5 to 2.5, it was a big change, and we deal with it by rewriting our extensions, and it was a lot of maintenance and coding, but we all managed to switch to it. But when Joomla decided to release 3.x, there was another big leap, and it's simply not possible to rewrite about 160 extensions that RAD Component have at this time in such a short amount of time, and our clients ask when we will deliver them, and it's really not usable to develop in that way. When you have to switch from one framework to another, and it's completely different with almost no backward compatibility. So what we needed to do is some middle layer, a framework of sorts that would, if we base our application on redCORE or on that middle layer, it would work in 2.5 and 3.x and 4.x and all future versions. So what we wanted to do is create a layer where we can develop our applications, and if Joomla add some new features or add some new functions that breaks current ones, then we just add that code to the redCORE and fix that. Okay, it's actually not another framework. There's already a bunch of frameworks out there. What we did is an abstraction layer, and it's actually much more than just a framework. I will talk about it more in the rest of the presentation. So abstraction layer, what we actually do in Joomla with redCORE is that we extend the classes. So we do not override them. We do not change the code. We just extend it and use our own code to make it better, and not just that, but to extend the features in 2.5. So if we see some feature in 3.x that we find interesting, we actually add it to redCORE and we have it available in 2.5 as well. So does redCORE work as standalone? Yes, actually redCORE consists of a library, a component, and a few of the plugins. And I will talk about one of the features, actually several of the features that we have in redCORE that can work as standalone features, not just as abstraction layer. This is just a simple example that we use in our applications. So what if we want to get a dispatcher, it's completely different in 2.5 and 3.x, and we in redCORE just from Red Factory we get the dispatcher. This is a simple trick, and we have a bunch of them, and I will not lose time displaying them all. I will just point some obvious ones. You probably all heard about JLayout that was done by Roberto, and it is included in Joomla 3.x, and it's constantly upgrading, and actually it originates from redCORE. So Roberto was working in Red component, and we needed a JLayout based solution, and we actually built it into the redCORE, and it was really good solution, and we added it in Joomla, so it's now part of the Joomla core. There's really a bunch of features like JLayout that we have in redCORE, and you are all welcome to join with developing them, and I will talk about also that a bit later. So I will talk about some of the features that redCORE have. One of the feature is the installer. So it's really a one package deal where you can include in your extension, you can include everything you build. So is it libraries, is it media, is it plugins? So everything you can just add to your installer, and it will install it in one go. So here you can see translations. I will talk more about this. It's really interesting feature that we added to redCORE, and I think you will like it. There's also custom tasks that you can run from the installer, and there's a dependency layer that you can add to your extension. I will actually show you in a demo where you can install extension and you can set dependencies. And if you want, I'm just talking MySQL version 0.50 and above, you can just add it in your installer, and if the sector does not have MySQL, or it has lower version, it will not install the extension, and it will show you a pretty message where it says that this extension will not work because this and that. Okay, I'll go further. So we have a nice libraries, media libraries in redCORE. So we have Bootstrapped. It's Bootstrap 2, and we have Flexi Slider, Font Awesome, Select to jQuery UI, these all libraries are minified, and these all libraries are actually not loaded from the beginning. They are loaded if needed. So if you are using, if you have application that is using select2 or font flex slider, those libraries will be loaded into your application just by calling the field from the XML. Okay. So what we also use is Font Awesome. It is great because it have pretty neat and free icons, so you can just choose any of them and just add icon camera to one of your links, and it will show you a camera icon that is really neat, and you do not have to code it, and you can simply make it bigger just following the rules. Okay, now I will talk more about translations. I mentioned earlier that we have developed some translating system in redCORE. What we needed was a system that will translate hundreds of thousands of products and categories and accessories for that products and etc. So we have about 1 million of rows that we needed to translate. So what we investigated was native Joomla translation. So when you get to the native Joomla translations, okay, we have a manual of 60 pages in PDF how to easily set it up. So I can actually share that that document with you. It's really long, and you have to follow the steps, or if you do not follow one step, it will simply not work. So native Joomla translation is really not easy to set up, and also when you show the client how he have to use it with this manual, they're really not happy. So what does it do? It duplicates everything. So when you translate an item, let's say an article, you actually duplicate a complete row. So it duplicates modified date, it duplicates everything, and there's really a bunch of data that we do not want it to be translated, because we really do not need it. So it creates a lot of data that are really not used in our application, and but it's there, and it's consuming our database, and it's making it slower. So we have big unused data. It's hard to maintain. You probably all work with native Joomla translation, where you create 10 articles, 10 menu items, 5 modules, let's say, and when you assign module to the correct links, and when you want to add a new link, you have to edit all modules, and it just gets complicated more and more. So it's really not something you will present to your client if you want to make them happy, because what it does, you need to say to them, okay, to add a new link for the new article, you have to spend half an hour just to link it, and they're not happy with that solution. And over time it just gets slower because there's more links and more modules, and you have to search for it. It's not that usable, especially when you have 5 or 6 languages. It's just getting slower and bigger and not useful. So soon it will just be a big bunch of data that it's hard to maintain. So we search for third-party extensions. I think you probably know them. It's Falang and Joomfish, and apart from them, that some of them were not working in Joomla 3.x. They have some neat features, so they were easy to set up. That's true. You just install them and use them. But when we get into them, when we saw how they are working, it's just one table. So one table for all translations. So for articles, for categories, for banners, for everything, it's just one table. So it's really getting slower, especially when you have millions of data and 5 or 6 languages. But when we tried to translate something, we saw that it's not just one table. So every translatable column that we are trying to translate, let's say title, name, I don't know, category, it's one column in one table row of that table. So if we are translating 10 columns in one row of articles, it will be 10 rows in Joomfish or Falang table. And let me tell you, if you have million of rows, this will soon it will blow up, and it's really I didn't even want to write it slow, but it's slow and it's slow. And what we really needed is from this, what we concluded that what we wanted from this is we want to make something that will be easy to set up. So what we did was create our own translating system, where we could translate everything, and what we did is make it look as similar as Falang and Joomfish as possible, because people are used to translating through that extension. So what we did is create an interface that is similar to that, and I'll show you in a demo how it looks like. But what we did, we added a set of tables for every table. So this will disperse number of rows of the translating tables. So it will not be in one table, it will not be in the same table, but a shadow table that is created, and in there is no unused data. It is only stored translated keys, translated columns. I will show you how it looks like later. But when we were building this, we added some neat features like multiple primary keys. You do not have to name it ID, you can name it anything and it will work, and you can add multiple primary keys. You can have more than one translation from different tables in one query. In third-party extensions, that was not possible, or it was very slow. And we made it really fast, and I will show you in a demo when we run it. It's really fast. So everything works. Complex queries, expressions in lists, subqueries in subqueries in subqueries. There's an unlimited power here, and you can use everything here. We named those translations content elements, so it's the same naming as third-party extensions. I will tell you more later why. But so each content element has its own shadow table, so it's easier to search through, and it's indexed. So JDatabase is not replaced, it's extended. Third-party extensions are replacing it, but we actually extend it both in 2.5 and 3.x. We have several features. I will not go through them all. I will just show you. You can use existing content elements from Joomfish and Falang. If you try to load in Joomfish from Falang content elements, you will not succeed because it's not possible. It's the same the other way around. They are not working with each other. But in redCORE, you can install either of Falang or Joomfish. It will work with both of them. So if you have already content element for some of those extensions, so you have a third-party extensions and you want to make it translatable, you can just install a content element from Joomfish, and that's it. It will work. So what we do is we add only one query. It's not multiple queries. It's not caching millions of rows in files and go through it with for each or something. It's just one query that we add on top of your query. So what we are adding is indexes in those shadow tables, and we are not duplicating column values if they are not translated. So if you are not translating, I don't know, title, you just want to translate category or something else, you can do that, and it will use the default English or your default language translation. Okay, I will go step further. So redCORE, where to get it? You can get it at GitHub, and it's free. Like I think all of our RAD component extensions, they are free. So you can just get them on GitHub. There's, I think, over 21 or 22 contributors. So I ask you, please join us because we have very interesting new features and projects that we are going in now. What we are doing right now is adding web services with HAL and OAuth2, and this is in progress, and I hope it will soon be available. And what will it do? It will provide web services to all your data that you want to show. So you can access it through mobile applications, or I don't know, your toaster or something. You want to display data through web services, you will be able to. There's also a few interesting projects that we are planning to work on redCORE and edit. So if you are interested in any of these projects, you can contact me directly or contact Ronnie from RAD Component, or if you have an idea, also we are always open and ready to listen. I will show you few demo slides. Here's a PHPMyAdmin, and we are going to translate this. We have translated this row working on your site. This is going to be translated on the next slide, and we have translated just this one with our SQL parser, and it's actually faster than the original because it adds from star. We pull out just the needed column names, and we add some flexibility to SQL queries, and we make them actually faster than the native Joomla queries. So it's really flying. If you have any questions, please just keep calm. I would like to show you a few um, stuff from actual Joomla. So I will show you when you try to install some of our newest application. This is RedCORE B2B. When you try to install them, you will get a dependency notification where you can see which modules have been installed together with that component, and which plugins, and the dependency layer. As you can see on your screen, it's PHP 5.3 is required. You can see which one is right here. MySQL version. There's unlimited list of extensions you can type in your installer, and it will check for them before actual install of your extension. It's pretty neat. It works in Joomla 2.5 and 3.x, so you can use it if you are using your application with redCORE. If you are using redCORE installer to install it. I will show you redCORE just a bit because I think I'm overstepping my time. I think I will try to make it as fast as possible. So in redCORE, it has a standalone application. It's called redCORE. Imagine that. And here you can see translations with the application that I just installed. You can install translation together with application, so everything just gets installed from one go. You can translate anything because redCORE comes with a native Joomla common used extensions like contents, menus, modules, and you can see here how it gets translated. You have an editor, you have everything here, and you have plugin options, parameters, everything you can just translate. You have a status, and you can translate it to any language you have installed on your system. Okay, I will not go further than this. So I will show you here. You see this is English version of the site, and you see this link. I have translated it before. It says working on your site, but in Croatian it says da radim na sajtu. It's translated. It's fast, and it's really oh, it's really good. How it looks like in a database, it actually looks like this. So we added keys, so it's really it's indexed, and it's really fast. And when you see banner table with so many fields and only translatable table, it's only fields that we need actually in our translation. In 2.5 you have the exact same thing, but I will show you some of our application. Let's say this is redesign in 2.5, and as you can see, it's every application that we build with redCORE. It looks exactly the same in 2.5 and 3.x because of redCORE. So we actually add bootstrapped in 2.5, even in administration. So when you build application, you do not have different views for 2.5 and 3.x, you have exactly the same. So you do not have to present your client's new application or something. It's exactly the same, and they don't have to learn everything. Where is it, and is it on the left, on top? Everything is as it should be. I think I'm out of time here, so if you have any questions, please ask and I will reply.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Kristijan. Do we have any questions from the people attending today? So, Kristijan, I have just one or two then, if before we close out. So, one of the goals for this is to use it as the basis for all RAD components extensions.
Yes, all current and future extensions from RAD component will be based on redCORE.
Okay. And one question from someone in the US here. It sounds as if one of the main benefits of redCORE is that it makes translation much easier.
Yes.
And that's obviously a huge benefit to people in Europe. But in the US, there's not much demand for translated websites. Are there any big advantages to using redCORE if you're not building multilingual sites?
Yes, because as I said earlier, everything it's much easier to build. So when you build application based on redCORE, you are actually building it for Joomla 2.5 and 3.x and any future 4.x and any future Joomla version. As I said, if you saw my slide earlier, in our vision, what we are planning to build, it will be great having web services through redCORE. It has a dependency feature that is working outside, and it's really in development stages, but yes, it has promises, and what we are doing is building to it every day. So every day it gets new features and new stuff in it that will help you develop your own application.
Do you expect any of redCORE to be added or contributed to the Joomla core?
Well, I hope so, especially web services, because currently in Joomla we do not have web services. I think Chris was building a prototype, but proof of concept to be exact, but it's not done, and we need it for one of our clients, and we are building it into the redCORE. So with it, it will really be possible to connect any external system to your Joomla, and you can connect anything, actually any mobile device with your Joomla very easily.
So in the future, should we expect, if we're using RAD component extensions, to install redCORE as a separate installation?
Most of the current and future RAD component extensions require redCORE because they are based on redCORE. So redCORE will be definitely installed together with any of the RAD component extension, because it's really helpful for developer, and it gives developer a lot of features that he do not have to worry about, like saving an item. You can what you have in 3.x, when you are saving from controller, you have it in 2.5 with redCORE and stuff and features like that. It's really good to have when you are a developer. I should know because it really speeds up your application building, and it's really good for complex application because it reduces huge amount of coding, and it really adds to your developer um, wall, let's say wall.
Cool. Question about the upgrade path. So if someone was to build an extension using redCORE, what can they expect in terms of the future upgrade path? What are the plans for backwards compatibility?
Yeah, we are actually very considerate about backward compatibility, and because we are based all our applications on it. So and we are closely tracking Joomla with every release they make. We upgrade redCORE as well. So we are backtracking Joomla, and we are also backtracking 2.5 because we have a lots of applications that are working in 2.5, and we have a lot of applications that are working in 3.x, and we need them to work on both of those platforms. And with this, you know that we will make sure it's backward compatible, because there's hundreds of I think it's over 160 extensions that Red components currently have, and it would be it's much easier to maintain just one extension than those that amount of extensions.
So you'll be the people that benefit most or care most about backwards compatibility, and because
Definitely.
it should benefit other people too.
Definitely.
What's the difference between redCORE and FOF, which is another rapid application development framework for Joomla?
Yeah, I got that question a lot. It's FOF. It's a framework on framework, and redCORE is a framework for more complex applications, because you cannot get the complex red shops and red shop B2B and red item extensions built on FOF. I know because we tried using it, and on several of our extensions, and we actually had to replace it with redCORE because it was not flexible enough to work with FOF, so we had to switch to redCORE completely.
Great. Are there any more questions for Kristijan at that point? Okay. Well, Kristijan, thank you very much indeed for the presentation and for introducing us to redCORE.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you guys very much for attending, and have a great day.